a dinner, eat it just for two. Me do now would mean to be my own. That time I the chase and then no money they go. My own. See my heart back push it on and they grind for my kenke. My own. Like the air I the feel am for everywhere I they go. My own. See the money baby come chop am for me. Oh. This is the kitty. Oh camera footage clean I know you're rissy. Nisi mujira smile siri. Open one family mo chili. Baby ni brownie yeah. Golden tree chocolate yeah. Me totally yeah. Each and every day me happy yeah. My own. That time I the chase and then no money day. My own.
Hey. You're welcome to Literary Voices on Dorc TV, streaming live on YouTube. My name is Nana YEBOAA, and I'm your host. We just finished listening to Samini, My Own, which was playing in the background. Beautiful song. Today's topic is negotiating relationships. And it's going to be a heated topic. It's going to be an interesting topic. It's going to be educational and entertaining as well. So, to be able to make this conversation be fruitful, I have with me in the studio beautiful ladies who are right on point, ready. And the notable father, KORSA. Father also came with his arsenal to, the only man in the mix. Hey.
He's a brave one.
He's a very brave African man to handle 4 African women. Father.
No problem.
Amen.
He's bossy too.
Amen. So we'll start on my far left. Could you? Yes, please introduce yourself.
My name is DONKOR. I'm a very good friend of Nana Ya. She's like a sister to me, so I'm very honored to be on her show to talk about negotiating relationships.
And
Latina. Hey, my
very
sister.
happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Yes, and when you see the gap, you're dealing with a strong, serious woman.
Yes.
You know you're in for a handful.
Calm down.
So I'm here today, invited by Debbie, my friend from many years, and I'm glad to be here to be discussing about negotiating relationships.
And I'm glad you accepted the invitation to join us in the studio here. And Father, you don't have a choice because I don't give you one.
Well, it's a privilege.
Yay.
A privilege to be sandwiched by 4 women. And let's have fun.
And
my name is Jemima, friend of Nanaya.
hey.
Oh, we are not friends. Okay. We are not friends, but I've been invited to be on the show.
Did I say we are not friends? You said
But as
friends
soon as
of
we
Nana.
friends
I said
said
A.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and she's misinterpreted it.
No, well,
Okay.
the A didn't come right. So.
There's more to being a
You,
photographer than
Martin.
just taking beautiful photos.
Okay, so negotiating relationships. I think we've already established what it is about as single women and married man and married woman. We're going to talk about the different aspects, what as women we are looking for in a man, and what her experiences too we can draw from, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what as a man, what not only as a man but also as somebody who is a counselor and a spiritual director as well, his input in, he's looking at it from the outside perspective, so what he can also add to this discussion, the take home for us, and getting to know a mind's mind and getting to know ourselves as well, because as we're speaking, we're also reflecting on some of our ideologies and practices and stuff that we think is right, but that is backfiring on us. Okay. So, what will be, I can start with Debbie, what will be your view of what an ideal man, in your view?
An ideal man. If you say ideal, then you're trying to say perfection. And there's no man out here that's perfect. I can grab some characteristics from like Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, but unfortunately I can't. So an ideal man is someone, especially the fact that we are, you know, in the diaspora, like in the Western context, but bringing in traditional values of being Ghanaian. I would say an ideal man would be someone who's self-aware. You know, because if you know yourself, then you know what you want. Someone who is understanding and open. And there's a lot other stuff, but I'll stick with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Understanding, open, and self-aware.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Do I get the same question?
We're all trying to figure out what is it we're looking for.
Well, because I am married and my husband I know is watching, I already have the ideal man. But if I were to make some changes, or if I were to modify, I would say the ideal man for myself is someone who is respectful. Someone who, much like Debbie said, is aware of himself. Someone who knows our history and has. Because they know their history, they are able to learn certain things from it and don't want to see certain things from the past repeat. So I think, and also an ideal man has to be an honest man, because we need that honesty in that relationship. Someone who can communicate, because it is so important. But for me, you have to find, no one out there, like she said, is perfect, but there's someone out there perfect for you.
Exactly.
So once you find that person, I think, again, we're talking about negotiating relationships.
Yes.
There's some negotiating that will have to go on because, like I said, they're not going to be perfect, but there are things that can change, things that can be modified.
And
yes, the ideal man has to be, for me, has to be very loving, because when love comes, respect, right, and honesty, and all that. Yaya has said, and Mercy has said too. Yes. When he's loving, he's going to be honest, he's going to be truthful, he's going to be consistent in everything that he does with you. Yes. So he has to be.
Okay. So for some of us, how do we call it? I think if you don't mind, you tell us a little bit of how you met your respective spouses, so we can also learn from that. And then Father will come in with his also views of what we've said. Yes.
Okay, so you want to know how I met my
husband?
I actually met my husband at a wedding.
Oh.
I was at a wedding of a friend of mine, and I met him there.
Okay.
And from there we dated, and not long after we were married.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So did you feel like it was love at first sight? When you met him, it's like, this is the man.
At first,
you didn't
not immediately. No. I was like, who's he trying to like? No, it wasn't immediate. It was after some time.
Yes.
I realized, well, he's the right height. Because that's important too. I'm sorry. No, but not just that. It's just we were compatible in a lot of things, and we loved each other. We love each other very much, and it was just.
Who wouldn't love all this?
Say it again. Say it, my sister. Say it again. But after meeting, I was in school at the time, and our schedules didn't really mesh. So we decided that every Wednesday we would meet once a week, and we'd go out or something and have a good time. And from there, our relationship just grew.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that I'm able to tell him, well, we met at a wedding. It's a perfect place to meet your significant other.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so I met my husband through a mutual friend. And we became friends. Wasn't interested at all. I had a boyfriend at that time. So after the person and I, yes, you put it that way. That didn't work. The choice was for me. Well, I made a choice to stay single, but he was always in the picture and persistent. Was what paid off.
Okay.
Persistent for at least 3-4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, he's a
Yes.
man who knows what he wants.
Yes. Anytime I said no, he said yes, and he never left. He stuck
Yes.
around for a long time. I even dated people that he was aware of it, but he stuck around. Yeah.
So, you know, the funny thing is, okay, so I think I'll talk about me and then you also share yours. I have nobody in my life. And the reason being is that if you take me on a date, I will listen to you. And after I listen to you, I think I have 1,001 questions to ask. So, because at this age in my 40s, I don't have time to waste. And I have grown into myself that I don't entertain certain things. So some of the questions are questions that should be asked 6 months later. I ask right
Away.
And therefore, they feel like they're in an interview.
Yeah.
And those who are bold enough are not the people that I want in my life. And those who are the people I want to be part of my life run away. So that is the story of my life.
So are you aware of that? Are you aware that you are chasing the ones that you want to stay in your life away?
No, I just put
Is she
everything.
really chasing them?
because she's at a
Why aren't they
different
strong
pace.
enough to stay? What is wrong? What is
No,
so
but she
intimidating
said,
about a woman?
she said that the things that she is saying, the ones that she wants to stay,
Run away.
run away. So
But I'm not the one chasing them.
I understand that.
I put everything on the
On the
table
table.
for everybody.
Okay.
And they choose to run away. Because people that I think a man's man runs away. And those that I think are not a man's man rather choose to stay. So that is a bit a conundrum for me.
Because given the fact that you just disclosed you're in your 40s, I think you're working at a different pace than someone who, like me, is in their 30s or someone that's in their 20s. I don't think there's anything wrong with you asking these questions. However, you have to be I think it's good to work at a pace because men think differently than women on everything, which boggles my mind because if you're thinking about a relationship, you think that you guys are in sync, but no, men think different, and we have to be open to that. So like on a first date, guys or men, or some men I should say, are open to just getting to know who they are. They're still even like infatuated with you. So they're just looking at your eyes, looking at your body, hearing what you do, and they're so infatuated with it. Then they
Are you
take
sure
time
they're
to get
looking
to.
at your eyes or they're looking at your hips?
Yeah, they're looking at the full
Whichever
package. They want to know how to describe you to the friends and the family, you know? And then eventually, I think they work at a different pace than we do. Sometimes us women, or some of us women, are thinking about marriage. Whether it be the first date or the 20th date, right?
There has to be an end game.
Which is true, and I think that's fair. But are we open to receiving their end game and being okay with that to negotiate?
Father.
I've been listening and it's true. Men can never be women.
Right.
And until we understand that men are necessarily different, we always miss the mark. And until guys understand that women are necessarily different, we'll not get there. That's one thing we need to be clear. Mm-hmm. I am not you. I cannot be you. I cannot think the same as you. Mm-hmm. A guy friend and myself can converge on an issue. Mm-hmm. But what bothers you on that same issue, we'll laugh about. And you'll be so surprised. Why don't they see what I see? Because they are not wired like you. And a man sees a woman crying about something and this is not cry matter. And we go nuts about it. It's because you are wired differently.
Right.
Yes. And we are wired differently. So how can we? That's why the Bible says that when they marry, they become one flesh. Right. So there's the need to unwire, accept how differently we are wired, and complement each other. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, in relationships, it's been competition. Mm-hmm. But it should rather complementation. if I understand I am not you, I don't want to force you to be me. I rather compliment. Maybe I'm weak, I'm calm, I'm quiet. So if you are boisterous, you are active, you are overly active, I rather use that to compliment me. If I love you and I want to stay with you, there's, for me, after marrying for a while and knowing a lot of bad, a lot of evil, a lot of right, a lot of wrong, I think currently the only criteria I look in a life partner is I want a friend. That's all I'm looking for. I just look for somebody who can be my friend. Because height, size, or eyes, or smiles, they'll fade.
Yes, it's true.
But I need a friend who I can walk with through my life. And you know, when the friend comes, a friend comes in, I actually can enhance whatever it is that I like. There are certain things I've shared with people. We go into relationship without knowing ourselves. I don't know me. I expect that person to know me. So when it comes to the crunch, and I finally realize me, I realize, oh no, I made a mistake. I got it wrong. So you try to survive. Personally, I don't believe marriage is about survival. I don't believe that. You don't have to survive in a marriage. God gave us a partner, a friend. And for me, that's the issue. Lots of people listening to me will confess they are in a survival of their lives.
And they're not happy.
Lots of married people are not happy. We don't want to tell the truth, but lots of them are not.
Happy.
Lots are hypocrites. Lots of us are hypocrites. Lots of us are liars. We are not bold to say what it is.
So they are in the marriage just because of socially construct are married and status wise.
Status, religion,
Yes.
culture, and stuff like that.
And that has a
Saving
historical
face.
background too. So
Yes.
all of that wages from years before us.
Yes.
Yes, we are not the starters.
No, we're not the
we're
starters
not.
of
It
it.
actually
We're
started from
different.
Adam, from the first man. So if you are using calendar, I can tell you calendar is short. It started way before.
Yeah. So we're talking about this, and sometimes my mind just takes me back to African. We had a bit of a discussion about traditionally how African men married, or how marriage works within the African societies, and most of it wasn't this one man, one woman thing. So maybe, Father, if you can elaborate a little bit on the traditions and
See, I was arguing with somebody some time ago, and even yesterday I raised it. We have made polygamous relationships or
Evil.
polygamy sin. But I don't think so. Polygamy is not a sin. Colleague priests and Christians will lambast me on this, but let one show me. And I will show scripture that has the people that God used to be polygamous. In saying this, I am not saying polygamy is the way. One man and his wife is the ideal, is the best. When you read Hebrews chapter 13, it talks about we need to keep, to honor, to adore marriage. So let me ask, you're married. A lot of people are married but are unhappy. And so they take side chicks and side guys. That is actually sin.
yeah.
I want to put that there. So if anybody wants to come up with, Father, what do you think about polygamy? The first thing is that I don't see polygamy as a sin. So define it from there.
Yes.
Now, from the Akan point of view, from the Akan, and Akan is one of the largest groups in Ghana, and we are like all others. Because I'm an Akan, I want to use the Akan model as an example. From the Akan point of view, we didn't used to marry the way we are married now. You see, marriage has a history. By the way, I don't believe in the wedding thing. I'm a pastor.
Okay.
I believe it is an imposition of the British culture.
Yes.
So you're talking about the white wedding.
The white wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we're talking about Akan.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to
Yeah,
set
so
a few
he's-
parameters
yes,
and then we move
yes.
on. People call it engagement. People call it traditional wedding, traditional marriage. It is marriage. Genesis chapter 2. And a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. So when the family, in our context, when the two families are joined, in the African context, it's not the individuals that marry. The two people brings the families together.
Yes.
And once the two families bring it together, God accepts it. It's beautiful when you bring it to church. And we mention all those things. I have said this before and I'll keep saying it. The facades we add to the marriage thing, you know, that is what brings the cost.
50,000.
That's what brings the cost.
First.
But the marriage thing itself, the biggest cost is the payment of dowry. In the Akan context, I mean. And it doesn't take forever. You go to the Nigerians, and when they do the traditional marriage and the traditional things are done, it does not take 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I am a priest. I've been a priest for 10 years. And people don't agree with me, but well, I tell them, if you don't agree with me, I don't also agree with you. But there's a reality. The reality is the two. How can two different things come together and become one? That's not possible. But God says it's possible. When we understand that I am me and you are you, and we complement each other, you realize that now we no longer stand, but we join. Not on our own, but we work together. Among the accounts. Let me use myself. If even I find a lady I want to marry, usually I'll tell either my mother
Or your uncle.
Usually, mothers are closer to children. And we see fathers as an Akan, I see my father as a little God, as a spirit. So my father is a kind of God. My mother is a spirit, an embodiment.
So you go through your mother to get to your father,
Exactly.
and then the uncles come in.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's how it was originally, like that. And so when they hear, the family does its own investigation. But unfortunately, before the family does its investigation now, she's already pregnant. Or they've already bought their stuff for marriage. And so the family cannot even advise well.
Right.
Back in the days, families could say, please, these two families don't marry. It made a lot of sense.
And they gave the historical reason why the families don't marry.
Sometimes it makes a lot of sense. We are not enemies, but we don't enter into marriages. Or if we have to go into marriage, there's this thing this hurdle we have to scale before, or we need to do so and so and so before. But we are so much in a hurry don't even take our time to go through the process. What happens is that when I'm supposed to marry and my father says, can you hold on a little bit? My father becomes my enemy. My mother becomes an enemy. Maybe there's a particular genetic formation that when these two families meet can bring a problem. You know, blood incompatibility can be the cause of death of our children. But because we don't know,
It's true.
the elderly, the African elders had a lot of sense. But we're using Western methodologies to disregard their thoughts.
And I think, Father, I'll add to that in the past, what they did was the family does its research on which family you are going into. So they look at whether there is what we'll term chromosome 23, trisomy 18. It's like, okay, so if there is these kind of characteristics in this family, you are not allowed to go there. Yes. And if there's mental health issues in the family, you are not allowed to go there.
You see, and let me add this. Sometimes they don't even say you're not allowed to go there. They open your eye to it. And so if you even go, you are aware and you are better prepared. Because in the community, every family train their children to become a particular person. So somebody can see you on the street and maybe a word coming from your mouth, they would say, you're coming from this home. And so people like it, people don't like it the way some people are made. Are you getting me? And it's just like the Israelite community. That's why in the original old African context, they have this betrothal system. There are several sorts of marriages. Betrothal system. There's one which is called a siwa. A siwa is a younger girl betrothed to someone in another family. So now the other family even contributes to the upbringing of that girl, because now they are preparing the girl for maybe their son, or maybe a chief, or maybe, let's say I'm an elderly man. Let's say I'm 40 and she's 15, 16, 20. I think in my future, this lady will help my economics and I can help her upbringing. They ask the consent of the girl. Do you agree? Yes.
They have the consent of the girl or her parents?
First of all, you tell the parents. And the parents will tell the girl. If the parents like it, there's a misconception that it is forced. No, SCY is never forced. Betrothal is never forced. The girl consents to it and says, this man, yes, I want to come from his family. So then whilst she's a girl, she's been trained to be the wife of. The same thing applies to Mary, the mother of Jesus. She was betrothed to a man called Joseph. That was it. The family consented to that. So she was being prepared. And whoever she's been betrothed to pays, contributes, adds up to her upbringing. Are you getting to the point? And she doesn't marry then. It is different from the child marriages today. Very different.
So even though you are betrothed, when you get to a certain age and you realize that, no, this is not going to work for me.
Because it is not marriage, it is not continued. And so then you begin, now there's something you call an agreeable ownership. Yes, an agreeable ownership. So this man contributed to your upbringing in the thought that you consented to it. Now you think it's not. No, it's not right. You destroyed an agreement. So you if the family is fine, if the man, sometimes the man also says, the way she has become, I'm not even sure it will whatever. So the family may pay compensation to the man who contributed to it, or the man will say, no, I loved her, let her go, but let the man know, whoever marries her knows that she was first my wife.
Yes.
Okay.
I get the point, but we rather talked about a lot of the evils around all
the
that.
negative connotation.
And I think probably also people took advantage of the whole intention of the betrothal system and negated it.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward. So that's history on polygamy and betrothal and
Polygamy, we've not touched polygamy.
We've not touched polygamy.
We just mentioned it.
But we are negotiating the relationships on how to move forward.
Yeah, so if you want to talk about polygamy, it's another topic because it's another thing altogether.
Exactly. It's another thing. Okay, hold on. So let's say if I find a man and I know this man is there with somebody and I think, he's told me exactly what is there, but I'm still interested. Me, I'm an African woman. I accept. But the question becomes, I thought Father was going to scratch my legs.
No. You know the extent to which I can go with this. So let's open it
That
up.
is why I gave it to you.
That can go really deep.
That is why I gave it to you, Father. So, me, that's my opinion. I look at our traditions and how it served us and how it can still serve us right now. So I don't make the mistake of using the patriarchal system, the Western concepts, to corrupt how I want to live and how I want to be happy.
You see,
I'm listening.
multiple marriages had their essence at the time. It could also serve a good essence today. By addition and subtraction, and maybe multiplication, women are more than men.
Well,
Those of you who do statistics know.
statistics.
I'm doing the simple.
Okay.
I'm doing the simple numbers.
By visual.
By visual.
I'm doing the simple. Remember, let me say this.
I would love
Yes.
your
Let
own,
me
but
do
if
this.
you can't-
Let me do this
right.
before we continue.
Yes, fine.
I am not saying polygamy is the best solution.
Right.
I have said here, one man and his one wife is the best.
Right.
Paul says, for the sake of sexual immorality, every woman should have his own husband, and every husband should have his own wife. Jesus said, when he was asked about divorce, he said, have you not read from the beginning? It was the man and his wife. But then the fallout of Abraham, how many wives did he have?
Yes.
I just want to use a simple analogy. The nation of Israel. The nation of Israel thrives or has been there based on the 12 tribes of Israel. Remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
12 tribes of Israel. Let me ask you a question. How many women gave birth to that 12 men? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Everybody produced 3.
No, one produced 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 women.
Simple division.
It was Leah and Rachel. Leah and Rachel. And at some point, they gave their servants to their husbands too. 4 women who gave birth to the nation of the nation of God. True or false?
Very true.
So let's not belabor some of these things. We have labeled it so sinful that we are even scared of touching the topic.
Yes.
Let's not go there. But
she's not ready.
No, you know what? I was just thinking of the example that you were trying to bring up a little while ago, where if you meet a man who already has his wife, and then you kind of brought up polygamy.
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself, well, if the man is cool with it, but what about the wife?
Right.
So there's a process. There's always a process for polygamy, for marrying another woman. The process is this. I'm using the biblical process and the Akan process. Even the Muslim process. Bible says, Moses said, if you want to add to your wife, take the consent of your wife.
But she will not say yes.
No way.
Well, here's the thing.
No, wait.
From an economic perspective, it could make sense.
Wait.
But-
Hold on.
Bring some order.
Ceasefire, yeah. Now let's move on. You see, already you are thinking of her as a rival.
Will you say yes?
Wait.
You
see,
So would you say yes?
Like you said, women are wired differently.
Wait, let me come. And I'm going to give you reasons why it thrived at the time.
There won't even be a discussion.
There was. In fact, if your wife does not consent to it, the family will not take you.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
What happens is this. You see, at that time, it was the order. It wasn't like this. When somebody says women are selfish, it wasn't like this. It was even prestigious to be Papa Osemesi's wife.
Hey, the first one.
Wait, or
The fourth one.
wait, or Papa Chief so and so's number 3, because it became so good.
He got more money.
We've not looked at all the other sides. I am the latest wife, and everybody knows the latest is always in vogue.
Hey.
It comes with a lot of stuff, but the most important thing is that Moses said, let the other wife consent to it, and make sure that whatever you share, they all get. You do not discriminate among the women.
Yes.
Even in sleeping, in giving them what is their due. Okay. I am not saying that is the best way of marriage. No. It's currently, it will be an economic hardship.
Right.
But
Unless everybody is working and doing their thing.
but
In a contemporary.
they had reasons. Even in contemporary times.
Yes.
To some
I have a professor in the university. Not here. We all thought she was a husband's only husband. She was a husband's only wife.
Okay.
Only to introduce another lady as her senior sister. And we thought that was her sister.
No, that's the senior wife.
That's the senior wife.
The wife before.
Yes.
Now, and in polygamous marriages, when they agree their sisters sharing same benefits. And some of us went to close an eye. We thought you were
only missus.
No. We thought you were educated enough not to be part of a polygamous marriage. Listen to what the woman said. I had never had this answer before in my life. In fact, as a Christian, I had abhorred polygamy until I did a lot of study and I did a lot of searching and understanding. The woman says, wait a minute. I'm a very busy woman.
Amen. I like that.
I have a lot of authority.
Amen.
I want to live long.
Amen. You share the
I know my man. I know my husband. Even if he says no to you, I know there are girls chasing him or he chasing them. I rather prefer marry. Let me actually know I have somebody I am sharing you with, rather than leaving you for mistresses. And I was shocked.
Which is very true.
I was so shocked.
You know, it makes a lot of sense because I don't want to go to jail for murder.
So be open.
So I hear you, and I hear that history, you know. But in contemporary, like in our day,
in today's world,
we have so much broken families that if we're not even fixing that, polygamy can't stand.
But the thing is,
we have to fix.
The thing is,
unfortunately, with relationships, when relationships are broken,
yes,
it's not like a bone. So, certain relationships that are broken, because it's a matter of the heart that doesn't have a bone in it, it takes a different approach. A very different approach. It takes an honest approach.
Yes.
Not systems and methodologies.
Deception. It's not polygamy if there's going to be deception and hiding.
It takes
has to be. There has
honest,
to be openness.
And
yes,
relationships.
openness.
And not necessarily
You see,
monogamous relationships.
you see, if I am honest about what is going on, I will be hurt only for a while. For example, your husband one day comes to you and tells you, look, I want to be honest to you about something. I didn't do well, I'm sorry. I got a girl impregnated.
Oh.
You see, this is very painful.
I felt the African come out.
Wait, exactly. I'm not done. Let me finish my question.
This is what the guy women do. In a way, she's rolling in her chest. This is something that a guy woman will do. But
Now-
she's about to
Yes.
roll.
Now let me
The sea will be
complete the
coming out
question.
from the-
Yes.
You see, this one is very, very painful. This one is so painful. Okay.
Hurted.
But he didn't tell you. He hid it. And someone came to tell you.
That's worse.
Your husband is
Has a child.
having a child with someone. And he's maintaining that person.
With what? Our money?
Okay.
That would be one of the
So
first questions.
the two, which one is more painful?
I think it's more painful to hear it from someone else.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. In matters of relationship, it should be honesty.
Yes.
When we are open, it is better to have this open evil than to have the hidden evil.
Yes.
Because you can deal with it.
Right.
But unfortunately, you see that reaction you gave with the first one. So, because she's going to give me that reaction, let me shut up.
Right.
And try.
And that's why they lie.
And so, when you find out and you go and ask me.
But if you are going to be man enough to go out the outside of the marriage and lie down, you better be man enough for the reaction.
Hold on.
I
hold
understand,
on.
but
hold
I'm
hold
talking
on.
about
Can I
fixing the
just add
problem.
something?
I'm
For a
just
man-
talking about.
for the man or the woman to go outside of the relationship. Something's happening inside the
Inside.
home.
No, I don't want
And
us to
if
come
that
there
is
yet.
not being dealt
Wait,
with.
let's finish with that load, the first load.
Oh, okay.
Because for every love, I love you. What made me go out? Don't ask anybody, ask yourself.
Right.
I don't want us to go into that.
Right.
I just want us to deal with the first thing you said. So you see, it's more of honesty, truthfulness. Look, I goofed. I did a foolish thing. This is what happened. Please forgive me. You know I'm a man. Sometimes men can be stupid. Please understand me.
Men are always stupid.
Every time.
Every time.
Unfortunately,
And we love you guys. We love you guys.
I'm not sure you want me to do a rebuttal, but it's because you don't understand.
Men.
Yes.
I know.
You see, you know what attracts women? What keeps women close is this. I didn't see anything, but just doing this makes all of you jealous. What did she tell him? And when she starts smiling, it kills all of you. and the mere fact that everybody is not feeling as good as you.
Attention. And social media has
What-
definitely heightened that.
Now,
by a lot.
what kills women is when the guy does this. The guy holds their hands
Attention.
and
We love that affection.
Yes.
Public displays.
you know what? Do you know what attracts men?
Tell us.
No, we want to know.
We need to know.
This is
What keeps guys?
the secret to unlocking a man's brains and heart.
The
and
eyes.
The eyes.
Yeah.
Hey, so maybe I should go put on some lashes.
Wait, let me show you this thing.
Mine are coming off.
Wait. I didn't say what you're wearing.
Right.
We said the eyes.
Because
The
when I
honesty
see you
in the
wear
eyes.
eyelashes, the first thing that runs through my head is that are your eyes not hurting? I'm not looking at how nice you're looking. Is she okay? And you see, sometimes when you wear lashes, it's like there's a shadow on your eye and
Wings.
Yes.
is she okay? That's how I see it. But you see, if beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, do not underestimate when a guy says, I like slim girls. And you sit in a relationship with a husband
Who likes slim girls?
who likes slim girls, and you are growing fat. You say the guy is stupid. Sometimes he's scared of telling you. He loves you very much, but you see his weakness is slim girls.
Yes.
And we downplay
So he's
it.
already told us what the weakness is.
And we downplay it.
It's so true.
Yeah.
We so downplay
They'll
it.
tell you from the get-go.
Go.
They're honest from the
Yeah.
get-go. While we're trying to be like this modeled citizen, perfect wife, everything, men are telling you what they want and how they perceive a relationship or their mate from the get-go.
But you miss it because you think, why do you like this? Why do you like that? And if a man is able to tell you, oh, I like you in shorts, please don't stop wearing shorts.
Even if you're uncomfortable.
You lose him.
So you find a way to balance your
You see,
not being comfortable.
I've told you about the eyes of men and their stomach. And their
Eyes of
stomach.
Men and their stomach.
So the way to a man's heart is through the stomach.
You
It's
see,
true.
Have you not seen
That is very
Oh,
that somebody has taken somebody's wife just because of small food?
Hey!
It happens all the time.
And then
Yes.
I'm going to enhance my culinary skills.
Let me
Get
show you.
them up.
Let me tell you a truth.
I taste it.
Let me tell you a truth. If your man stops eating from you and starts eating from the restaurant, he's leaving.
Uh-oh.
Yes. If you're supposed to eat, he used to come and ask, you have any food? And you give him. And for about a week, he's not asking about the food. He's leaving.
Yeah, he ate somewhere.
Yes. Maybe he's not leaving for any person, but he's leaving.
Is this from an African?
I'm talking about a man.
Because like there's a lot of these diasporans that don't even think like that. They want to take you to restaurants
Wait, I am not talking, I'm talking about a man. See, when I take you to the restaurant, I want to impress you.
Also, have him keep on taking me to the restaurant. Is that what you're saying?
You see?
Okay.
No, I mean it.
So the man is just trying to impress you.
I am impressing
as
you.
Okay.
And when they start thinking about marriage, the average man, they are the extremes. And when we start thinking about marriage, they'll start thinking about what will my child eat. You know, men
Whether
are,
you can cook or you can.
you know, men are particular with their children, especially first fathers. They're particular with their children,
Don't drop my baby.
and they would ask you, they would ask themselves. The very moment you see a man, they will not tell you. You see a man start calculating the receipts on your going out. Begin to revise your notes.
Okay.
Because they've now started calculating how much it costs them to take you out to eat, not to buy things for you.
Well, I think there's a lot of truth in what he's saying.
Then keep it
With
from
regards
me.
to it's in the eyes and in the belly. I think that's important. Like I've found in my marriage that we women, we have so much to do. There are times when we're not always ready to cook. And I thought in me being busy, well, maybe if I go get something on the road and bring it home, that'd be fine. But my husband, who is new to the country, he's from Jamaica, and he let me know, Tina, me not used to them eating out a box, me not do them something there. We eat cook food when you so it is important for me to be in that kitchen, you know, and making,
or both of you to be in the
Sunday
kitchen.
we cook
I'll
together.
tell
He
you
can
how.
just
Sundays,
stand
that's
there.
what we do.
He can just
Right.
keep you company.
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how
And that's the
you can keep men in the
negotiation.
kitchen.
I want to know.
I think you have to pay me today.
Oh God.
No, you see,
Because
you see,
I will
unfortunately,
kick you out of the kitchen
Uh-huh.
even when you want to come.
you see,
so
when your man wants to be in your kitchen, he wants to tell you, I don't care anywhere. Yes.
Father,
I don't what?
I don't
I
care
care
anywhere.
What do you mean?
Two things. Two things. I can walk in the gutters with you, and I don't care having sex with you anywhere. And if you have a man who is bold enough to do that,
and wash the dishes.
don't drive him away. See, when the man loves your backs, loves the hips he's watching, he will follow it anywhere.
Right into the kitchen.
When you said the bathroom. Never mind.
Oh yes.
So these are some of the things we need to be looking for.
Yes, and you can keep the man there when you don't instruct him to do anything in your kitchen. Every man, regardless of race or culture, every man is a little God.
What about father? You instruct them to have a glass of wine and let's talk whilst I'm cooking.
Leave them. Why don't you leave him? He came. Leave him.
I don't want you in my way. But nicely said. Have a seat.
So when he
something,
came
talk.
But
to
he
want
might
to
show you something.
Exactly.
He might show you something
You
in
see,
that kitchen.
Well, we are on live. I don't want to do a lot of some kind of talk.
Let me tell you this.
And father is in the house too.
No, wait, let me tell you this.
Yes.
If you are bold, if Chief is bold enough to enter your kitchen, means Chief wants something. You add a lot of onions, and Chief says, can you add a bit of garlic? He is telling you from his heart. Are you getting me?
Yes.
And he says, the pepper is too much. And you listen to him. You know what it can lead to? My father taught me something. He taught me, my son, don't let a woman use food to get you. At least the things that I will be able to make and eat is okay. And he told me why.
Okay.
He said, as for men, it is easier to be controlled here. Have you wondered why certain secretaries
Marry their bosses.
are able to run their bosses?
Because they bring their bosses food. What would you eat?
In the morning they bring coffee, sandwich, lunch.
They make
order.
sure they are fed and comfortable.
It is simple things. Even how you put it on the plate.
Yeah.
When the guy comes home, and he sets the table, he comes, he knows his food is there, he goes in. But he goes to the office and the lady brings it and says,
Sir.
your tea is ready, please. Oh. He's not eating because of the tea, eh? He's eating because of the words that came after it, that came with it.
The service.
The service. And he comes home because you have fought. He comes home and says, your food is in the kitchen. No problem. He would as well go to the restaurant. Where the lady would say, please, what can I serve you?
I'm learning something today.
And that's what is, you see, Chief is a big man. The food he enjoys best is when he is sitting and he's eating and his sweetheart is sitting there.
Or they are eating together from the same bowl.
See,
And
not every man eats together. But if you get a man who wants to eat with you, don't drive him away. If you drive him away, I bet you are driving him away to another woman. But you see, when your woman is sitting down with you and you are eating, the feeling is different.
And then they wiping your head. You know,
You see-
traditional.
You see, it's not a... When I went to school in United Kingdom, I went to do my master's in Birmingham. I had the opportunity to visit families. And see, when we always talk about traditional, this thing, it's not true. I went to a place called Kent.
Yeah.
Kent is a little beyond Canterbury. And it's quite a village.
Canterbury of the Canterbury Tales.
Yes. And Kent is quite, and their house is far. You drive through a farm and you get there. And you go and there's a fine settlement. Everybody knows everybody. I thought they were white people, so sometimes in the afternoon, maybe the man would cook and whatever. The woman would be cooking and the man would be walking around, and the woman would deliberately ask, "Do you like bread?" He says, "Yes." "Oh, wait, I'll get for it myself." And now, you see, that's how to keep the man. Instead of telling, "Go and get me bread," she wants to eat bread. But she asks you, "Do you like bread?"
Reverse psychology.
and then it comes on. And you'll be surprised, the man, when the lady sits with the woman, the lady sits with his man, and they are sharing a meal. Sometimes the lady wouldn't even eat, but she'll sit with him. And when it is done, there's this reciprocal thing. Clearing the table and doing the dish. The man does it with some kind of haste. You would think it is his job. At one point, the woman said, please, you would think Kenneth would say, you make Kenneth think I am making you do the dishes. Please, it's my responsibility. I mean, they have, what do you call it? Your machine, the washing machine.
Dishwashers.
But the man will prepare it and put it down. The man's response is, you fed me. At least, let me clean.
But
it is reciprocal.
Father.
Of course, some men are bullies.
Yes.
So they will just sit and make you labor. I am talking about the average, the ideal.
But Father, this is what I've learned, that because women, we think differently and men think differently, we need to communicate clearly what we expect. So, for instance, if you tell me you are taking me on a date, I will tell you, you are paying right off the bat, so that when we get there, there's no surprises there that, oh, I thought you were bringing 50 and then I do 50. You are paying.
Are you an African woman?
I am.
You know this model is not African.
It is not, but I have found it practical because when I step out with the African man, they are thinking something entirely differently. And it's not at that point in time that I'm going to tell them that I was expecting you to pay.
Actually, the original African expression of let me take you out is not let you go and pay some. The original African expression is I am taking you out. So the very moment you get there, even when they bring the menu, the African man will ask you, what will you eat?
I would just think it's understood if the man says I'm taking you out, then he understands.
But I think maybe models are changing.
No.
But in my understanding, if I say I'm taking you out, I am taking you out though. And you see, some African men, if they say they are taking you out and you want to come and pay, you know what is at the back of your mind? This woman is arrogant. She thinks I cannot.
You think I'm broke.
Guys, not it. Yes, because then, you see, when I say I am taking you out, I am going to show you what I can do.
Because I've been on dates that, okay, we've stepped out, the bill has come, the bill is maybe kicking about 100, and it's like they pulling out money and the money is not enough and I got to add it.
How do you get it? Did they ask you? Did they ask you?
No, because they keep flipping through.
And who asked you to?
And you are sitting down and watching.
Did you take him out?
It's like, oh, do you have
did you take him
bit?
out?
No, I didn't. So do you have a bit on you? It's like
if they ask.
Yes.
If they ask, but if they don't ask for a bottle of Coke and add it.
Yeah. I don't want you to ask me about that money anymore. So I tell you, you are going to pay, so that you make sure that when you are coming, you are packed. Otherwise, don't take me.
But you see, I think this model only happened here. It cannot happen in Ghana.
Oh, no, not in Ghana.
Because in Ghana, when the guy wants to take you out, the guy has prepared himself to show you me to I'm the man.
Yes.
Or in the African setting.
Yes.
And they'll ask you, are you free this weekend? He said, oh yes. Can we go out? And some are even bold to ask you, where do you like to go? And when it happens like that, you know, it's on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on them. Because the African mentality is that the woman, he wants to surprise her husband or her boyfriend, does something apart from saying, I'm taking you out. So maybe can make people surprise him with whatever, or say, Johnny, I'm going to can you please meet me at so and so? Then I know I didn't prepare for that. So when I got there, he said, yes, anything the issue? Oh no, I want you to, But when the man says, the man asks you out on a date, oh, I'm a man, but put your money in your pocket.
Yes, we do get that a lot. I'm not sure whether you, the married women, I don't know how it goes for you and Debbie.
As for the married women,
it's different. For like, my husband and I will eat out often, and I shouldn't say often, but a couple of times.
Yes.
And sometimes it's his treat, sometimes it's mine.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. Sometimes we'll be on the road and realize we haven't eaten anything. It's late. I don't want to go home and cook. All right, whose treat is it? And we'll just decide.
And there's mutual.
Yeah, it's always mutual. It's always mutual.
And
one of us has got to pay.
Ladies, sometimes, well, it's coming up a bit in Ghana too, but sometimes you look at each other and say, hey, today you look broke. and you give him $50. You give him $50. And the man said, who told you I'm broke? Look, he needs the money. He will never throw your money away. And that's an expression of love.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, look at your pants. It's on. Hey, you've been wearing this. You take him to Winners. You get him one. When he goes out there and he's playing the fool, he's scared because he realizes he's wearing your pants. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth.
Mommy.
I'm telling you the truth.
It is very true. Well, my husband and I, we do plan because of work, right? When we have to go out on a date, we plan. Plus, we have 3 kids. It's not an excuse, but I make sure I do incorporate, that into our lives. So when we plan, it's always his treat.
His
treat. It's always his treat. That is what
he always is treating you.
Always, yes.
Hey.
But I
treat him some.
I do surprise him. Like, I notice he likes little gifts when I buy stuff for him. So I like his birthday every now and then. When I go out and I see something nice, I always give him a nice treat. But even before we got married, anytime we go out, it has always been, oh, I want to take you here. Let's do this. Let's do that. Or even when I plan, let's do something, he always
foots the bill.
Always. That I have to give him the credit for. He
do you know that the African, your man,
uh-huh.
has the African mentality of every husband is supposed to be a hero of their wives.
Yes, he does.
I like that mentality.
He does.
Every good. I'm talking about the average.
The average.
Every good African man sees himself as I always have to be the hero. Yeah. And sometimes we take the shine away from them with little fights, with not appreciating the little they do, with always reminding them of a fault of theirs. It kills that. But for every African man, even your boyfriend, they always want to be the hero.
So we should just let the man be the man.
Not every African man, but I think for most
I'm
of
talking
the
about
men,
most of the average.
Being Jamaican, being Canadian, being white, well, I think,
Yeah, I'm using African man because I know them the most. Yes.
Yeah. So we just let the men be the men. Because sometimes with all this social construct, you and I will attest to feminism and how do you call it? Romanism, patriarchy and everything. What I would expect or what I thought I grew up in, it doesn't really translate. So Debbie, you and I are on the same
That's why I'm like, I don't have expectations anymore.
Level,
right? So because you have to, or I found that you have to meet men, or some of these guys, men, where they're at. Right? Now you could drop points here and there and work with them as they will work with you. But expectations, I understand standards should exist and are real because we're all coming from a place, because we all have our own histories, and so do men, right? But to have expectations, for him to expect, not necessarily to pay the bill, but for him to help with the mortgage and all these things, like, those are expectations, because if you expect every man that you're with, or a man that you're with, to be doing these things right off the bat, It's not gonna happen. And then you're disappointed. Then you're like, oh, this guy couldn't meet me where I was. Oh, he was intimidated by what I'm going through or what I have, and it's not
sometimes I don't know, but I'm a Bible person, so I always want to look at the Bible. The Bible says that, see, the man was given a job before the woman came. The man, God had given the whole world to the man to name things there. And you know, when you name something, you own that thing.
Yeah.
You know that. If I name my child belongs to me.
Yeah.
This is my house. It belongs to me. So God gave man that. But God realized that the man is lonely. So he said, I will make
you a helpmate.
A helpmate. That statement, I love it. But I ask a question, do we get it?
No.
What is a helpmate? If I cannot carry this, what kind of help do I need? I don't need somebody who is weaker than me. I need somebody who is either as strong as me or stronger than me.
Yes.
So, right from the onset, women are not weak. That is my understanding of the Genesis story. Women are supposed to help men with their vision. And when you get a good partner, you get a good husband. The good husband may understand that because I am going to be big, my wife should be bigger. So if my wife has a political role, a big managerial role, it should not intimidate me. Because actually God brought her into my life. I should help her attain that. So I will also attain what God made me.
Father, where are these men?
That is what the meaning is. That is what the meaning is.
Yeah.
So for example, maybe your man says, we need to get a house. Once it has been raised and he shows direction or commitment, it is the helpmate's responsibility to make sure that we both contribute to, help us contribute.
But
To attain that,
Father,
of course.
I will not cut you
Wait,
short.
don't cut me yet. Of course, some men, I've said this before, are bullies.
Yes.
So it's when they realize that their wives are hardworking, their wives are outgoing, they want to leave it all on them. And some men will say, look, I'm doing a project in Ghana, so you use your money to fend for whom? And if they are not honest, that is bad.
Yes.
That is bad.
The issue of that helpmate thing really is, in this generation with our academics and whatnot, we have a group of, or a generation of women, millennials, very highly educated, shattered the glass ceiling, and as a black woman, unfortunately, many of the young black men who we are supposed to be on par with are really less than stellar. I don't want to use any derogatory or negative terminology here. Less than stellar as to what we expect. And it's brought this concern that I want somebody who is close to me or above me, but because of the way society has constructed things, they are not. And so we are fighting with, how do we navigate this? The person is absolutely wonderful, but it has this kind of shortfall.
Because we're looking at some African women are looking at men from a Western, white supremacist standard. And we should not do that, because we are already, not to say aback, because we're in this society.
When you say
but
white supremacist standard,
we're looking at black men as if they're the white men.
Okay.
And we have to look at our black men, our African men, as African men. Whether he does a trade, whether he's shoe shining, regardless of who is he as a person, and how are you guys going to build together to grow together, right? Now, I'm not trying to say everyone should go get a shoe shiner, right? Who shines shoes now? But what I'm saying is he open to working with you? Is he open to building with you? Because you're not looking at the present, because you don't know. He might end up going back to school and then, you know, doing that. Or he may end up opening his business and becoming successful in that. You just don't know. But as long as you guys are building together, your future is just, it's going to be bright.
See, I don't know, but remember when we were all mentioning stuff, I said, with all I've seen, I'm only looking for a friend. I'm only looking for a friend. Maybe my friend is a professor, and if she finds me, the little man trying to make ends meet, friend enough, I'm looking for a friend.
Exactly.
Okay.
Maybe her encouragement will provoke me into some things I've never thought of. I'm just looking for a friend. A lady lecturer in a university told us a story about her husband. I never knew. The husband, at the time we met him, could speak good English. She said, do you know the job my husband does? My husband is originally a mechanic. Not a mechanic in the West. So I'm talking about the African fitter, mechanic, who is in dirty and tattered clothing.
Okay.
She said she was driving for lectures, and along the route, her car, for some reasons, got spoiled and was there. All the guys were passing. Nobody would stop to help.
Only he did.
But he. And when he came down, it was obvious. He was a mechanic fitter. He was in all that. And so he helped. And he said that the man was in with his boys. And so after, say, Madam, do you need help? I said, oh yes, the car just stopped. It wouldn't go again. The car was actually in the middle of the road. And the madam said, the guy says, oh, me, I'm a mechanic. Madam, let me help you. So, okay, the car is in good hands. And so as they were talking, he says, hey, I've been late. I wish I could leave the car. I want to call my class. That he said, oh, what's your idea? Are you a teacher? He said, yes. So this mechanic instructs his boys to drive Madam to school.
Hey, I will take.
So he drives Madam to school.
Right.
Yes.
And he said they gave Madam phone number. So when you finish, call us and let's tell you what the problem is. Apparently, the long and short is the guy has taken the car is fixed. When Madam calls,
the boys can pick her up.
the boys can't pick her up to go pick her car. And
I like the entourage.
now she gets there.
He has me at the entourage.
She gets there, and you see, Massa, I mean, mechanic boys. He says, when I went to meet this man, sitting on a block, something there, and just eating fufu. And says, Madam, Madam, can we get you water? She's wiping. You see, mechanics humble.
Yeah.
And Madam says, how much do I owe? What's the problem? So it was this and that and that. Luckily, I had some in the shop, so I fixed it. How much do I owe? Madam Pasha, we are going to marry so that you will teach our children for us. We cannot pay fees.
Whoa.
So this lady said, right from there,
Whoa.
she became friends with him. Also, he will call. How are you doing? What? They chat. The guy told him his story, why he couldn't go to school. He was a recalcitrant boy. He was there, all that. So the woman said, so as they kept communicating, the woman felt that is the kind of man she needed. Not the man. The woman said, I felt this is the kind of man I need. The lecturer says, she's now a big lecturer. The lecturer says, I am praying no stupid girl will get this man. So I have to calm down.
Investment.
So she actually asked the guy out. She said, because of what they have done, I think it was Christmas or something. But you meet me, can I take you out to eat? And the woman took her to where the mechanic thinks he cannot go. A fine place. Says, hey! You see, in Ghana, mechanics, when they are not on duty, they dress well. And the guy had worn white jeans and some fine shoes and all that. And so the madam says, when he said, what?
You clean up real good.
I didn't make a bad choice at all. He takes her out, and the madam started asking, so where's your girlfriend and all that? And the guy says, oh, girlfriends, they have not treated me well. I don't know, maybe I'm not a good person. So currently, I've left with my girl. The madam says, unconsciously, she did this.
Amen.
And the guy says, Madam Adain. And she says, well, if I've done this, let me tell you. I think you are the best man I've met in the world. Wow. Said, what? Oh, madam, please. I beg you. The guy is begging.
This is too much.
Long and short, they are married. They are married, and the man says, please, I cannot go with you to some of your gatherings because, and she says, that is my job. That's not your job. Okay, you keep being the mechanic. I'll keep being my lecturer. You teach me how to fix my home. I'll teach you how to read and write.
Yes.
As I speak, the man has a mechanic shop still. She imports and sells spare parts.
Okay.
The woman is still a senior lecturer. And you see them, and if you are not told the story, you think the man is an educated businessman. All I'm trying to say is that sometimes stereotypes don't do us good.
Yes.
Can I look for a friend?
Right.
Can I look for somebody I can hold hands with in the gutter and say, yes, that's my friend? Can I look at somebody and says, you guys say he's not good. Well, he's not been bad to me. I think, and sometimes that's where we get it wrong. We use stereotypes, we use education, we use, can I get a friend? I've always said this because of my own personal experience. Can you play with your husband or wife? Play. That's all. If you
can't,
if you cannot play with them, forget about it.
there has to be that friendship.
Because marriage is a serious thing, you know. It's killing people. Personally, I believe if I can play with my wife, what's next? You go to work and patients have bothered you, and you cannot come home for somebody to tickle you. See, we think tickling is for children. It's not for them, it's for us.
Tickle.
Especially as we grow older.
On this point that father is talking, years ago, one young lady told me that in a bad relationship, a relationship that went sour, left her handicapped with her children, and it's the next door neighbor who was a single young man that helped her, and he was always there consistently, always. So they became very good friends. So the gentleman was from the Caribbean and she was from the west coast of Africa. They became very, very good friends. Every time the mom called to check on her and her child, the man was there. So he asked the child, who is this man? And said, oh, it's my next door neighbor, very good friend. It's like, that is supposed to be your husband, not that one that you married. So if he can be such a good friend, you've got a very good husband. Well, go figure. They came, I didn't even know, I had to ask for the story before I was told, but I didn't know that the first two children that he was with were not his. Because they blended so beautifully and the dynamics was so beautiful that you could never tell. And so her advice to me was, as father is saying, find a friend. But I'm a sort of complicated friend too. So
And you think you cannot have your pair?
Well, friendships can be complicated.
Exactly.
Right? Because
Friendship
I'm
always
listening to this,
complicated.
and I'm thinking this is so good for me to hear. Because oftentimes Debbie and I will talk, and I'll be like, I don't like him, but I love him. You know?
But you need to like him too.
You have to like him too, right? So I just feel like this is something that I'm going to take away from today, home, to my husband, and just let him know that, you know, baby, we're not just husband and wife, but we've got to be friends. Because sometimes when, I mean, you mentioned sometimes we're not always happy. We're not always happy, you know? But there comes a time when we have to make up, and we know that we have these goals and we've set them. So fine, we have a rift here, but we have to fix it so that we can do what we want to do. And in those rifts, sometimes it gets very heated, and some very not nice things can be said, you know. And in that anger, those very deep emotions, sometimes I think we lose track of the fact that that's my life partner. That is my friend. I need that. So some of these things that we say in anger, we need to hold back, because really, once you said it,
friends should not hurt friends.
Exactly.
Because
Right.
riffs sometimes are not solved that day.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
say it
And
again.
that's okay, right? Because I'm talking to someone and we got into a riff. And then when we seen each other, we started laughing.
Because then
We
you see
were
how
laughing.
stupid it
It
is.
was so stupid, you know? And I was just like, I was saying to myself, holy like, this is something else. Because I haven't had that before.
Yes.
And it was almost refreshing.
Yes.
Right? So in terms of the friendship piece, it's integral.
Yeah.
Because if you can be upset with someone and then laugh within the day or the week of, or month, whatever, then that's something to continue to build on.
Yeah, it's
Because you're not
important.
only building on your relationship, but your friendship is growing as well.
You know, I'm not saying I should have a friend who always does good to me. In fact, it is my friend who hurt me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And see, there's this element of friendship I'm talking about. See, it isn't everybody you can forgive.
True.
Some people, it's easier to forgive. Others, it's almost impossible to forgive. But God enjoins us to forgive. So, like children, they fight today. And when you've gone to separate them, the next moment, you are their enemy.
That's true. Yes.
And that's the kind of friend I'm talking about. So that
You've got each other.
even in our struggling, not agreeing. And so what?
Yes.
And we move on.
You had something to say.
Yeah, I was going to
Jemima.
say,
Yes.
well, that's my father from church, from
Okay.
Anglican church. So he hears many of my stories. Whenever I'm going through something in the relationship through marriage, he's the first person that I speak to. He constantly advised me. I mean, I'm a social butterfly. My husband is antisocial. I wouldn't say antisocial, but he is. He knows that I tell even if people, I'm like, my husband is antisocial. Like if you see him,
I didn't even know he was your husband. That
Yes.
he is very quiet.
He was just laughing because an old man was trying to capture this young lady.
And he was just sitting
And
there,
he
you
started
watch.
like watching and
He
laughing.
is completely different from the way I am.
Yes.
And he always says, "You're everyone's friend. Where are you going again?" You know.
Yes.
And he's like, "Yeah, it's okay. I'll stay home. I'll watch the kids." Because
Okay.
he knows that is how I am. And then sometimes when I have to pull him out, he'll be like, "When you met me, I wasn't going out. So what makes you think?"
Why do you force me to go out?
Yeah.
But there are some days that I have to. I'm like, no. I'm like, do you know people think I'm single? Like,
Yes.
I'm like, well, do they know like you have a husband and kids?
Yes.
And then we will laugh about it. But like we are completely different, but we have a very bonding, loving relationship. I
Okay.
mean, he will
Yes.
say, I don't go out. Like he's the kind of person, and that's how his family, that's how his father is. That's how they are very close knit. That they are not. They are very social, but they have to get to know you before they open themselves to you. And he's always like I fight with him. Let's go. Like, no.
I just enjoyed him laughing.
Yeah,
with you
and that is how he is at home.
dancing with the old man.
Yeah.
That
Who
is how.
his eyes were just on your girls, and it's like, so it was funny because I was laughing. I looked at him and he's laughing, and it's like we look at you guys and we all started laughing.
Yeah, that's how he is. He doesn't like.
You see, that's how it's supposed to be.
That's like
that's how it's supposed to be.
When he see another person flirt with me, or me just like being my bubbly self, like he thinks I'm flirting, I'm like, and then I was just like, well, when you met me, I was also like that. So we know how each other are. We communicate, but sometimes, you know, he's a typical man. It's hard to sometimes get the words out, or how I want him. Like, I thought I could change him, or I thought, you know, not change him, but I thought it will wind down. But even the older we are getting together, you rather want to see the kids at home dancing in front of the TV, and he's just there watching the.
Yes.
That is how he is.
Yes. Okay.
Right? And I am also out with, like, he always say, everyone is your friend.
Yes.
Who is it? Everyone, you, like, he is very unbothered by that. So to me, it's okay. But,
I think the big take home for this time is knocking on our doors. The big take home for this negotiating relationships, and I think we'll have another segment to delve deeper, because relationships are not just, you know, it's a big topic that we have. Yes.
But today you didn't do us a lot of good. You've heard a lot from the guy's side, and 4 women, and you've not been able to tell us what we should be looking for.
No,
this is not fair, is it?
No. You see, we need something from you.
Maybe the next time you tell us what we should be looking out from you.
I think women are very versatile. Even if they meet a man and the man is not even outgoing or isn't even supportive, we, the women, find a way to get the man to be, even if it's a bit supportive, or getting the man involved.
We men, I told you our problem is the ISO. So how can we see the good one? And you should be able to tell us how you are.
We want to see the good men. That's why we brought you here.
So this segment was just to trick men to know one thing.
This is how you propose.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
This is how we get to propose.
You had also influenced 4 women in some of the words that you said. I mean, you made me have to sit back and look at some of the things I do, and even in the kitchen, and you know, letting the man be the man, and just we appreciate you. And just again, you're a very brave man to be here today.
If you have young men who want to listen from the women's perspective, then we'll flip the script and then cater to them as well.
I think I'll do that.
Yes.
I'll see if we can get. Maybe we can. We need to hear other side, because I think this is so important.
It is very important.
So now, on Valentine's Day, there's something I'm trying to do. I'm going away from the regular lovey things, sweet things, and on the 24th in church, I want us to talk about love between parents and their children, especially around here. Because wait, the black guys are dying. They are going to prison. And you listen to some of their stories, the problem starts from home.
They do.
It starts from home. And I want to talk about that. But on the 15th, I may be talking about this. I'll be talking about love, lust, infatuation. What
the confusion.
That's what we'll be talking. We'll be doing Bible study, but this is what we are doing. And it is necessary. I believe, and maybe I may need to start a revolution. I believe there's need for premarital counseling or premarital discussions than when they are almost going to marry.
Before
they come to the priest 6 months. I've told people, and I've done it in my ministry, I'm happy I successfully broke 2 potential marriages. Yes. Yes. I'm happy I successfully broke that.
Okay.
It would sound so different coming from a single woman.
The idea, when anybody comes to me for marriage counseling, the idea is that 1, don't expect advice from me, because I won't give an advice. 2, I am going to break your stereotype, and if you can stand it, you should be able to go through it. 3, you should be honest to talk to yourselves. at some point, the lady who I was her pastor came after a counseling session and said, Father, I don't think that's my man. After sitting down and analyzing the things we have shared, I think I'm making a mistake.
Yes.
And that's where I say I broke it. I am happy. Two of them, 1 year after, both of them invited me for their marriage, their wedding. And I told them, if you took some of the things, hey, I'm not saying I have a successful marriage, but I have learned. I have learned. Some people have learned from the hard way.
Yeah.
And I think I'm one. And so I want to share. And so if two people are going to marry and I ask a few questions, there's something they call role expectation. What a woman wants to expect from a man. Bear this in mind. When you are married, the very moment you marry, you are no longer just a woman.
You're somebody's wife.
You are a wife. And there's a big difference between a woman and a wife. There's a big difference between a man and a husband. A wife submits to the husband. A woman supposed to be strong and be herself. Are you able to hold strong and be yourself and still submit? A man
when you say
is supposed to.
You have to be clear because some people convolute like submission
It's
as
to
negative.
slavery.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm talking about to your own husband. And I'm not changing the words. Submit. For the man, every man's job is to roll, is to name, is to be his own. But when you are a husband, you should love your wife even unto death.
Do your part.
So, can you love this woman even unto what you don't like? And that's the difference between a husband. And the very moment you marry, man and woman should submit to each other.
Father.
Should submit to each other. And that's the difficult part.
We have to continue. No, where we are going is deeper than even what I thought.
How are you gonna drop this now? Like
Maybe that's what we need to pick up from on the next one. We could pick up from there.
You want me to end it?
No, I'm not trying to
round
say
it.
that. We unfortunately we have to round it.
We have
There's
to
so
round
much I can
it,
come out
yes.
of what you just
Yes,
said right now.
yes.
That it only makes sense to
I
go.
think it's a broad conversation, a needed conversation. And in the beginning, I think I made the mistake thinking about it narrowly, but it's bigger than what I thought when we are negotiating relationships. Whether you are the single woman or whether you are married or whether you are the one looking for love, you have a lot to learn from. So I do hope viewers who watched us and listened to our various experiences and discussions from the married women and from the singles and from father, the male figure in our midst, we've learned a lot from the traditional aspects to the modern aspects, and I think we are going to reconfigure ourselves and renegotiate and look not from a position of it's like I'm better than him, and find ways to look beyond the academic achievements and look at the people, the person themselves. So, folks, it's been a pleasure. I would like to say thank you very much for honoring the invitation on being on Literary Voices, Jemima. Thank you,
Nice being
Father
here.
KORSA. It's always a pleasure to have you.
I hope I wasn't too controversial today.
No, I think you shared quite a bit with us. And somebody viewing from the pitch media says he's not lying. Thank you. He's not lying.
We
So
should have read some of the
yes.
comments on the video and try and answer some.
And let's see the comments there.
How do you get the comment? I don't know.
It's live chat. Okay, let me read some and let's small food. He's not lying. It is not fair. I don't know what is not fair. And at one point they say I concur. and
That's
views
amazing.
from the pitch media.
It looks like he has a lot of
appreciate
people
the host for
agreeing.
her work as of right now. Oh, thank you. Powerful man of God.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Amen. Praise the Lord. So, we thank those who have been watching and those who will watch later as well. All comments are welcome. We'll do our best to give you, feedback. And if you have any suggestions, also, it is welcome. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Madam Tina, Latina. Thank you, Yaya.
Thank you.
DONKOR. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
God bless you.
Amen.
I thought you were going